All right, good. This is a super good one. I've been wanting to make this one for a little bit. Look, any rigid, very structured type concept or community, by default, that's going to cause some trauma because of the limitations that it's like imposing on you, which is consciousness. Your consciousness. Consciousness is unlimited. So then if you try to box yourself into some rigid concept that intuitively, especially intuitively, if you feel like, wait a minute, this is a bit stifling, like somehow this doesn't really make sense, this doesn't flow, that may not be very tangible or articulatable, but somehow there might be that feeling. You're like, somehow this doesn't make sense, but yet everyone else is following it and saying it, and even like saying it very emphatically. So maybe there's something wrong with me. Okay, so that's why certain religions can cause a lot of brain damage. But I have to say, I've studied a lot of religions. I've met people, a lot of people. I've traveled the world. I've met a lot of people in my 50 years that are from all different walks of life and religions and spiritual practices, etc. But I have to say, generally speaking, the Christians, the dogmatic Christians, there's some Christians are cool. They've realized, like, whoa, I'm drawn to Jesus, but this is just my archetype. Somebody else who's drawn to Buddha or Krishna, we're all on the same page, really, because it's all pointing to the same source. This is higher level Christians, so they're cool. But I've found in Christianity, generally speaking, there's a lot of like just misinformation and dogma and scary stuff, man, that can give people, like, damage your brain. It's traumatic, especially if you're young and they're shoving these things down your throat. Why though? Why Christianity can potentially cause more brain damage than the other religions? Because of all the fear and shame that has been injected, artificially injected inside these scriptures that we say Jesus has written. It was always a bit amazing to me how some people can be so sure and emphatic that, like, what the Bible says, that's exactly what Jesus said. I'm like, man, this has been over 2,000 years ago. Number one. Number two, do you know how many translations that had to go through to get to English? Number three, wasn't there a big fire that, like, they burned all the churches and temples down, and then they only had like some of these writings, they saved a few, and then they tried to construct that into, the Bible. I mean, there's so many things, that's why I like Paramahansa Yogananda. He was definitely a realized master. It's also amazing how some, they think like only Jesus is the only one. He's the only one. He has a monopoly on God. He's the only one. If you don't follow him, well, sorry, but you're going to burn in hell forever. I've met intelligent people, though, who on that level, super not intelligent. This is how they would talk. I had a genius friend once in Peru. We did plant medicine together, and then he started talking all this stuff, and I'm like, where did that come from? Sorry, I was gonna say something, but so let me look at my notes. All right. Yeah, this is important. When I was about 6 or 7, I used to go to parents made me go to Bible school. And I remember we were all young, like we were all, toddlers and under 10. And I remember the preacher was sharing what hell is. He's like telling, again, age very young. And he was saying, if you don't accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, then you're going to go to hell. And here's what happens in hell. You sit in this pit of fire, and it's so hot that the teeth start chattering because it's so hot. and you're going to stay there forever. And it's the worst pain that you ever felt. You're going to be there forever. I'm like, that's scary. Not going to hell forever, because that's nonsense. It's scary that somebody who is an adult and he's talking to children is sharing that. Where did he get that from? He says he had a dream. God spoke to him in a dream and he saw it. You know why you saw it in the dream? Is because your mind is full of all this nonsense. So that projects into your dream. You're gonna see these things. Well, whatever our conditioning is in a dream, in our normal conscious, unconscious state, that manifests as a dream. That's partly where dreams come from. The real, this is the saving grace right here. If you discover the divine on an experiential level, if it manifests for you in whatever form, deep peace, deep unconditional love for like every kind of sentient being there is, it's unquestionable that the divine is giving you a boon. It's breaking you off a little taste of its nature. When you experience that, all this nonsense, it goes out the window. All this nonsense that some religions, let me just make sure there's not an animal behind me. There's not. All this nonsense that people can be manipulated with is for people's mind. It's the mind that can be manipulated. When you have direct experience, you just can't be manipulated. Like, you can't. Like, how are you gonna be manipulated? So, Jesus, if he's the holy man, which I believe he is, that the Bible's alluding to, there is no way that he's going to be saying what a lot of overly dogmatic Christians are saying, that he's the only way, and if you don't follow me, you're going to hell. And then they say, but look, he says, I am, nobody comes to the Father except through me. I am the way. Let's use that one. I am the way. He's not saying he as a person is the way. He's saying that I am presence or consciousness before it got incarnated into this human form or identity, the pure consciousness which you can experience in meditation or plant medicine or a near-death experience, whatever. That consciousness, that's the first manifestation, you can say, of the formless God, is this pure just I am. Then from there, it starts to divide itself more and more and more and more. Become a human, become a gender, become, just keeps going. You get layered in identity. So that's what he means. I am the way. The I am is the way. All right, what else we got? Yeah, I've met people, it's not just religions that do this. I mean, it's not just Christian. Well, also, it's not just religions that are overly dogmatic, but we're talking about religions here. But I've met also other religions where, like Muslim, but it's less. It's less in Islam than it is in Christianity, where they also believe, like Prophet Muhammad's the only way, man. It's the only way. But there's fewer. But I've met people from all the religions, Christianity, Buddha, Muslim, who, man, they're like really on point. It's really nice to be in their company. That's why I'm not against religions. I'm not against anything. We can't control this. We have a certain destiny. And so if you feel you have a natural inclination in relationship with Jesus, great. If you feel you have that with Prophet Muhammad, great. If you have that with Buddhist or Hindu, good. I've had people from each one of those religions say, oh man, you're like a hair away from being Christian, or you're a hair away from being Islam. You should come be Muslim, or come be Buddhist, or come be Hindu. Why? Because all the essence of religions are the same. The truth is the same. It can be expressed in many different ways, but the truth is the same. So the essence of any true religion, it's all the same. This is why I like SRF, Self-Realization Fellowship, Paramahansa Yogananda. And he calls his fellowship the Church of All Religions. He knows, man. That brings up another point. And take your favorite overly dogmatic preacher of any religion, put them next to Yogananda. They don't even have to talk. Nobody talks. They just sit there. If it's not clear which one the light of God is shining through, then, I don't know what to tell you. That's what it's about. It's not about dogma. It's not about, following a set of rules. It's about, is the light of God shining through you? With Yogananda, man, it was strong. It was so strong. But still there'll be people who, they can't see that. I can't really relate to this. I've never been that conditioned. They're so deep in their conditioning that overrides even being. That's why I said if Jesus was here, we wouldn't even recognize him. Jesus could incarnate and be sharing the true message that Christ was really saying, and people would probably crucify him again. They'd say he's the Antichrist, and really he's Christ. Imagine. But this is the time and age we're living in. What to do? I remember I went to India. This last thing, you find those things that you can feel. You can feel like God's in you, but he's playing as a particular kind of individual expression. So there's other individual expressions that ignite that. You can feel that in churches. I felt it when I went to India. I went to different holy shrines, and there were some shrines I would just, bam, it would just activate a very deep sense of serenity. I'm like, okay, me and you, yeah, we have some relationship, clearly. This is how it works. All right, so let me know how you like that video. I love being free in the sense that I'm not trying to appeal to mainstream consciousness, because I can't help them anyway, and they have no business being here. So I made this video for two reasons. Number one, I felt it's important. This is the main thing, because I think people do have some damage, consciously or unconsciously, that maybe all this conditioning they absorbed when they were growing up, or maybe did some damage on you. That's one thing. The other reason is I want to weed out more people who don't really vibe on this frequency that I'm sharing. I'm not trying to reach masses. I'm the opposite. I'm trying to reach those who are tuned on this frequency. That's it. The rest, go watch another channel. I mean, there's 100 million YouTube channels. Why would you come to a channel that you don't feel and then criticize? You know why they do it? I'll tell you why they do it. They do it because something in them does believe in what I'm sharing, but they can't admit that to themselves. So the ego takes it and then wants to project their nonsense, their anger that they're being provoked onto me. That's what they do. I know, because I used to do it. That's how you know all these things. All right, I'll see you guys.